We are now live.
Good evening. Thank you all for attending today's meeting of the Santa Rosa City School Board. Today is Wednesday, February 9th. We will start our meeting with a territorial land acknowledgement. So joining us this evening, we'll have Dr. Brenda Flies with Hawks. If we could bring Dr. Flies with Hawks over.
She's on her way over.
Great. Welcome, Dr. Flies with Hawks. Are you with us? There we are. Hello. Hi, welcome.
Technology's fun, isn't it?
Technology is fun. Dr. Flies with Hawks is a professor of psychology at Santa Rosa Junior College. It's great to have you back. Welcome. And I'm going to turn it over to you for the land acknowledgement.
Thank you very much, President Sheffield and OCO, and hello to all of you. Thank you again for inviting me again tonight to begin your meeting with a land acknowledgement. You know, to recognize the land, as I've indicated before when I came my first time, it's an expression of gratitude and appreciation to those whose territory that you and I reside on. And it's the ultimate way of honoring Indigenous people who have been living and working on the land from time immemorial. Acknowledging the land is an Indigenous practice, and it's our protocol to do so. It's a simple, very powerful way of showing respect, and it offers a step toward correcting the stories and practices that have historically erased Indigenous people's history and our culture, and moving toward inviting and honoring the truth. So tonight you do that, and we thank you. So therefore tonight we respectfully acknowledge that we gather in Santa Rosa on the stolen territorial traditional land of the Southern Pomo people and the Miwok and Wapo people in Sonoma County, past and present, and honor with gratitude the land itself and the people who have stewarded it throughout the generations. This land acknowledgement calls all of us to commit to continuing to learn how to be better stewards of the land we inhabit. As a step toward honoring the truth and achieving healing and reconciliation, Santa Rosa School Board commits to open all public events and gatherings with a statement acknowledging the traditional Pomo, Wapo, and Miwok lands on which we stand, and to move beyond words into programs and actions that fully embody a commitment to Indigenous rights and cultural equity. And for that, we thank you very much, and may you have a good meeting, and blessings to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank
That was
you.
beautiful.
Honoring the past and the present, and for the future of this land and our school community with respect and gratitude.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to agenda item C2, the Pledge of Allegiance. If we could all please rise, unmute your microphones for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America
and to the
republic for which it
stands,
stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Well, the beginning of this month, February 1st, marked the start of the Chinese Lunar New Year, a holiday and tradition that spans the period of time between the first new moon, lasting for 15 days until the full moon arrives, which is next week. So during this time, there are Chinese traditions to honor deities as well as ancestors. As my 7-year-old son, Quinn, taught me last week, 2022 is the year of the water tiger, which occurs every 60 years. So the water tiger is what I would like to ground us on this evening. As I learned from Quinn, the water tiger is action-oriented and represents strength, bravery, and the clearing away of negativity. So let's ground ourselves tonight on that. Action-oriented, strength, bravery, and clearing away negativity. All right, so with that, we're going to move on to agenda item C3, report of actions taken in closed session, none. C4, items considered in closed session for action in open session, there were none. C5, statements of abstention. Are there statements of abstention tonight? Seeing none from the board, moving on. C6, adjustments to the agenda. Board members, are there requests for adjustments to the agenda? From the board? Okay, seeing none, can we go to the public for adjustments to consent items, the F section? There are members of the public to address F section items.
If there are any members of the public who would like to comment on an item that's in the consent part of the agenda towards the end of the meeting, this is the time to mention that so that that item can be pulled for a comment later in the meeting. These are the F items. Any members of the public who'd like to comment on an F item, please raise your hand now. There are no hands raised.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item C7, we have special presentations tonight to honor our students for their academic, their character, and other praiseworthy criteria. We'll also be honoring our certificated and classified employees for their outstanding dedication and service. So joining us for these presentations, we have principals of Monroe, Brook Hill, and Montgomery. We could bring them over. All right. Hello, Principal Stroll, and let's see, we have Principal Monday. Great. And there's Dr. Polson coming over. All right, we will start with Monroe Elementary. I'm going to turn it over to you, Principal.
Thank you. Should we have our staff members and students join as well?
Absolutely.
And I will need my student to raise their hand. So if Emmy Beck could please raise her hand. She's one of our staff members, Miss Cynthia Cowsland. And then Ricky, if you could also raise your hand to be moved over to panelist, please. Oh, good, Ricky's here.
Principal Storrell, I'm not seeing Miss Beck present.
Okay, and I'll tell you, my office manager is so humble and so private, she might not attend tonight because this kind of attention is deeply embarrassing for her. So she had shared that today. Thank you. Can I start with my student? Fantastic. Ricky, I see that you're here and I'm so glad that you've come. And as you know, tonight we're here to honor you, right? You're amazing. And we actually have his 5th grade teacher who is on the Zoom, and he was nominated by our staff and he's now a 6th grader. So Ricky, it is our distinct pleasure to present Ricardo Anzorena Quiroz as the Santa Rosa City Schools Student of the Month for Monroe Elementary School. Ricky has been a student at Monroe for the past 2 years and is now in 6th grade. He started with us as a 5th grader, entering a new school during distance learning. His 5th grade teacher, Mrs. Cowsland, describes Ricky as the sweetest kid who is super responsible with his schoolwork. While on distance learning, he attended every class every day. Ricky could be counted on to ask probing and clarifying questions and to advocate for his learning needs. Ricky's 6th grade teacher shared that he is a kind-hearted leader in the classroom who has earned the respect of his teachers and his peers with his soft-spoken and gentle manner. Ricky is a deep thinker who doesn't just answer the what of a question, but also the how and the why. He is hardworking in the classroom and constantly strives to be better than he was a month ago, a week ago, a day ago, and a minute ago. He is actively pushing himself out of his comfort zone and has recently joined the Monroe basketball team. Go Griffins. These are the characteristics that manifest success despite life's obstacles. Ricky has grit and perseverance that will allow him to prevail. In addition, he has a strong moral compass due to the guidance of his family. Ricky has a positive attitude and a willingness to help anyone at any time. When asked what he wants to do in his future, Ricky shared, "I would want to be a scientist." And while he loves science, his favorite subject this year is social studies because he likes learning about communities and how societies first evolved. Ricky also shared that his favorite thing about Monroe is all of the teachers, all of the staff. So congratulations, Ricky. You are truly deserving of this award, and we are so proud to honor you tonight.
Congratulations, Ricky.
Ricky.
Thank you, Ms. Coslin.
Congratulations, Ricardo.
And your family is there too.
Yes, his family is there. That's wonderful. All right, should I continue?
Please do, yes.
Okay, I will read the award for our classified staff member of the year, the fantastic Emmy Beck. And Emmy is not here with us tonight, but she is probably listening. Emmy, it is Monroe Elementary School's honor to recognize Emmy Beck as our classified employee of the month. Ms. Beck has been a valued member of the Monroe staff for the past 7 years. Her first 4 years were spent serving students and staff as an instructional assistant and instructional materials technician. For the past 3 years, we've been fortunate enough to have her as our office manager. In her current role, Mrs. Beck is one of the most prominent faces of the school, and there she is. She greets students and staff daily, coordinates our guest teachers, is responsible for student enrollment and records, manages requisitions and purchase orders for our needed supplies, and she helps monitor the school budgets. She is often the first point of contact for Monroe families and members of our greater community, where she expertly fields a wide range of questions and supports in filling various requests. Mrs. Beck is responsible for more tasks than can be listed here, each of which she does in a calm and competent manner. Ms. Beck is truly integral in the day-to-day workings of the site. She is both organized and efficient in her approach and is extremely focused on her job. She takes the needs of our students, parents, and staff members seriously and works tirelessly to meet them. She is quick to respond to phone calls and emails, and those she works with trust in her abilities. We are deeply grateful that Ms. Beck has chosen to work at our site. She is a true asset to the Monroe community. Don't steal her, anybody.
Congratulations, Ms. Beck.
She's wonderful, and I'm sure she's listening.
Good
Congratulations.
job.
Okay, and our last award goes to Miss Cynthia Cousland, who we are now calling our certificated staff member of the year. And I think we'll give her her own parking place. That's what we've decided. And maybe a tiara. That was the request. So it is Monroe Elementary School's distinct pleasure to recognize Cynthia Cousland as our certificated employee of the month. Ms. Cousland has been a teacher at Monroe for the past 8 years. She is incredibly versatile. In her time here, she's taught kindergarten for 1 year, first grade for 5 years, and then 2 years ago during distance learning, she seamlessly transitioned to teaching 5th grade, which she does expertly. Ms. Cousland has a positive can-do attitude. She's often among the first to sign up to learn about and assist in new initiatives on campus and is always willing to support our site's needs. Ms. Cousland is an LPAC proctor, tutors Monroe students after school. She's coordinated our Schools of Hope program for many years. She's taught our Saturday Elevate Academies, worked with grade level teams to teach students dances for International Dance Day. She is currently an active member of our school site council, our student study team, our leadership team. I feel like I left something out because she's so involved. Ms. Cousland is dedicated and caring and always goes above and beyond. Her colleagues describe her as a wonderful teacher who is both firm and kind in the classroom. They admire her relationship with her students and other staff. Her colleagues are impressed that she knows every student in the school by name and can often be seen in prominent locations on campus greeting students. She learns new curriculum easily and is adept at applying what she learns to her teaching practice. Ms. Cousland is a team player who is always willing to share great ideas with her fellow teachers. Thank you, Ms. Cousland, for all you've done to support our school, to inspire our staff, and to artfully educate our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cousland.
Thank
Good
you.
job. Bea.
Congratulations. Oh,
All right, well, thank you, Principal Sturall, and congratulations to Ricky, Emmy, and Cynthia. We are going to move on to Brook Hill, and we have Principal Monday.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so excited to honor 3 special individuals from our Bobcat family. So I'll wait for them to roll over, and I'll copy Principal Storrell and start with our Student of the Month. Would you guys like them to raise their hands? That's Mayeli Lopez,
That would be helpful, yes.
Aubrey Nikki Deem, and then Carlos Gomez actually will not be here tonight, but I'm pretty sure Adina is going to share his photo. He works 2 jobs, so he was unable to join us.
And Principal Monday, I am not seeing Nikki present.
It might be Aubrey. Maybe she can raise her hand. She told me she was present. I see Mayeli. I'll go ahead and get started, Adina, and then hopefully we catch her by the time I'm done here.
Thank you.
All right. Well, the Bobcat staff of Brook Hill Elementary are unbelievably honored to celebrate an outstanding Bobcat student, Miss Mayeli Lopez Navarro, as our Student of the Month. And before I get started, I have to share a personal congratulations to her, because I have had the pleasure of being her 1st grade and her 4th grade teacher, and now her principal. And I'm so proud of you, Mayeli. Mayeli is currently a 6th grade student and has been a student at Brook Hill since she was in kindergarten. Since she arrived on campus, she's been an outstanding student who strives to do her best regardless of the task. She has a passion for learning that you don't often see, and she truly embodies what it means to be a Bobcat student. Mayeli's passion for learning started at a very young age. As she moved through the grade levels within our school, we continued to see the amazing potential that she had. She is laser focused on being a good student, and it shows. Mayeli's teachers noted that she works hard on every task that she's given, and she doesn't get deterred by a challenge, and instead uses challenges as an opportunity to advance. Last year, during distance learning with all its challenges, Mayeli used it as a time to truly show how much she loved learning, her teachers, and her classmates. As she participated in the Learning House program, she personally reached out to her Brook Hill teacher so that she could attend classes online with her classmates at Brook Hill. She then decided to complete assignments and tasks for both classes. And this is just one example of how she truly goes above and beyond. Mayeli has always been a natural leader and someone that her peers look up to. This year, she was voted as our Student Council President, which is a huge accomplishment and a big responsibility. Her peers would describe her as independent, kind-hearted, and a friend to all. One of the things that you will constantly see Mayeli doing in the classroom is helping others. Her 6th grade teacher, Mrs. Lomelli, even referred to her as the 2nd teacher. Mayeli has done an outstanding job being a role model for others, and she embodies her role as the Student Council President to the highest extent possible. Every morning, her upbeat, clear, confident, and kind personality shines on our morning announcements. She helps to organize Student Council fundraisers and presents information publicly for the entire school during school assemblies. Mayeli truly is a shining star at Brook Hill, and her future is so bright. When I asked Mayeli what her goals were for middle school, she said it was to stay focused, keep her grades up, and be organized. In the future, Mayeli hopes to be a marine biologist, a veterinarian, or an actor. Regardless of the goals she sets for herself, we at Brook Hill know that she will accomplish them. Congratulations, Mayeli, for being our Student of the Month. We are so proud of you.
Congratulations.
congrats.
Nice job, Mayeli. You're a great student. We're happy to have you as our student.
And I see Nikki there. Hi, Nikki. I'm glad you made it over. So next will be our certificated staff. All right, the Bobcat staff of Brook Hill Elementary are extremely excited to honor the amazing Mrs. Nikki Deem as our certificated staff member of the month. Mrs. Deem currently teaches a second, third grade combination class. She taught a first, second combination class last year and taught second grade for 4 years before that. And as a primary teacher, Mrs. Deem truly represents what our Bobcat students need in their early years of school. She has a constant smile on her face, which now can be felt through her mask. Her upbeat personality is contagious, and the tremendous amount of care she displays is something that you can't describe. During Mrs. Deem's time at Brook Hill, she has not only helped students who come in and out of her classroom make academic growth, as well as feel welcome, supported, and valued, but she has also taken on projects and been involved in many things around the campus that impact our school. Mrs. Deem has led our annual talent show, after-school dance classes. She has organized and helped present school fundraisers, school rallies, and assemblies. She also has a creative touch that she uses to create posters, signage, decor, and huge props for all the events she is involved in. This ranges from 4 Christmas trees around campus during the holidays, a life-size popcorn prop for the talent show, or 60 plus customized signs for outgoing and promoted 6th graders. This is just to name a few. Most recently and most notably, Mrs. Deem started beautifying our campus, starting with our central pod area for the upper grades, that she has redone the whole entire workspace with our students' new paint, furniture, decor, lighting, and much more. She also has moved outdoors with a huge outdoor beautification project where a courtyard was completely redone, furniture for outdoor learning set up, new landscaping, and this continues in our school garden. The endless amount of work that Mrs. Deem has put into our school campus has been unimaginable, and we are still asking ourselves, how can she do it all? Students of Mrs. Deem say that she is very nice, always plans fun projects, and was one of the best teachers they've ever had. Colleagues of Mrs. Deem say that she's always willing to help others. She has a positive attitude and shows a true passion for education and is extremely supportive of her students and colleagues. Mrs. Deem recently got her master's degree in educational leadership, and her passions lie in building the connections between home, school, and the surrounding community. She hopes to one day write a book to help others build that strong relationship within a school community. I feel so honored and grateful to have someone so incredibly selfless on my school campus on a daily basis. Mrs. Deem leads with love and truly embodies putting our students and our school first. Thank you, Mrs. Deem, for all you have done, and congratulations on this well-deserved recognition.
Congratulations, Nikki.
Congratulations.
Thanks for being with Santa Rosa City Schools. Good job.
All right, and last but definitely not least, is our classified staff member of the month. The Bobcat staff of Brook Hill Elementary would like to recognize Mr. Carlos Gomez as our classified staff member of the month. Mr. Carlos, as we often call him around campus, has been our head custodian at Brook Hill for 14 years. As the head custodian of our school site, Carlos truly does it all. He is a natural leader who takes initiative, cares about our staff and students, and shows this on a daily basis. As I'm sure you can assume, there's so much more to a head custodian's job than setting up for lunchtime and keeping our campus clean. The demands and responsibilities of custodial staff increased significantly as we returned for in-person learning in April of 2021, and as we continue to operate in person on campus during the pandemic. Carlos's attention to detail, his natural leadership, can-do attitude, and efficiency has been a huge asset and one of the biggest reasons why our campus can run smoothly, even during a pandemic. Our students on campus value Mr. Carlos and his role in keeping our campus clean, safe, and organized. They look up to him as he is a role model for all, and he embodies what it means to be a hard worker. He even has weekly Bobcat leader recyclers who help him collect the recycling from classrooms. The relationships that Carlos has with our Bobcat staff is another amazing quality of his. Our Bobcat staff shared the following about Carlos. Carlos is one of the most hardworking people I know. Brook Hill has benefited from Carlos's incredible work ethic. I personally have had the pleasure of working with Carlos for 7 years now, and I'm so happy that his hard work and dedication to our school is being acknowledged. Congratulations, Carlos, even though you're at work right now. And thank you for all that you do for our school, our staff, and our students. We are so lucky to have you. And don't worry, I will be showing him the recording. I told him this morning.
Congratulations.
Carlos.
Congratulations, Carlos.
Thank you, Principal Monday.
Thank you.
Congratulations again to Carlos, Mayeli, and Nikki. We are going to move on to Principal Paulson at Montgomery High.
Oh, thank you, board members. I appreciate giving me the opportunity to highlight some of our outstanding students and staff. I'll give my three reward recipients a moment to jump on. Ms. Dorina Ballard is our student. Ms. Rebecca Sullivan is our classified staff member. And Ms. April Santos is our certificated member. Now I'm seeing April and Rebecca. And there's Dorina. Hey, Dorina. Well, I'll start off with Dorina. This is a hard task, but when I was tasked with it, Dorina was one of the first students that came to mind. Dorina serves as our ASB vice president this year, and after being a community service director last year and a sophomore class officer the year before. This year, not only has she been in charge of running the ASB class each day, but also is the chair of the culture committee. As culture committee chair, she runs Senate meetings, both setting the agenda and facilitating the meetings. She also organized our club day and meets regularly with our club presidents. In addition to her leadership, she's a member of numerous clubs on our campus, including Secretary of Speech and Debate, Vice President of the Mock Trial Club, Social Media Ambassador of our Bring Change to Mind Club, and she also frequents the Black Student Union and our Asian Culture Clubs. On top of all these commitments, she finds time to take IB courses and also runs track. She has also been a key part of the restorative process involving our ASB and BSU this year. Presently, she plans to attend a four-year university to study law with the ultimate goal of becoming a judge. And she's already well on her way to success, as she is currently interning in a local law firm. Dorina is a very special young lady who will no doubt be a future leader making an impact on our world. Congratulations, Dorina.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Dorina.
Congratulations, Dorina. That's impressive. Great for you. Good for you.
Next is our classified member, Ms. Rebecca Sullivan. Every office has that team player that makes it all work. And Rebecca Sullivan has been that key player for us this school year. She consistently goes above and beyond her duties as our health tech, which is a very busy role this year. This year, she's been the consummate role model, helping out with our COVID program, testing our sports teams, and training our new attendance employees. A bilingual speaker, she often helps with on-the-job translating and any emergencies we have on campus. Rebecca Sullivan started at MHS 8 years ago as High School Tech 1. She started as our Health Tech 2 years ago. Relying on her many years of institutional knowledge, she's often willing to help others, even if that means staying late, which she has done quite a bit this year. This year has been challenging for many reasons, and we are so grateful that we have had Rebecca on our team. Congratulations, Rebecca.
Yay, Rebecca.
Hey, Rebecca.
And lastly, our certificated teacher of the month is Miss April Santos. Returning to Santa Rosa City Schools, where she formerly served as a special education program director, Ms. Santos has a very impressive resume with a variety of administrative and teaching experiences. Ms. Santos has been such an amazing addition to the Montgomery campus this year. Anytime you walk by room 24, the smiles on the students' faces, underneath those masks, of course, And the laughter and joy that emanates into the hallway lets you know that the students are in such great care. I have seen her encouraging, counseling, motivating, and inspiring her students each and every day. Her enthusiasm is so contagious. She can often be seen talking with students that aren't even in her class. April is always the first to offer assistance in any capacity to make sure that the school community is not impacted. She has stepped up daily on her teaching prep time to sub for teachers at the last minute. She comes to student events in her free time to make sure her students are supported and empowered. She has also been a key player in our homework club, a new after-school support program for students. She stays after school 3 days a week to tutor students in various subjects. She also makes sure that students have healthy snacks and the supplies they need to be successful. We are very fortunate to have Ms. Santos as part of the Viking family. Congratulations, Ms. Santos.
Thank you, Ms. Santos.
Congratulations, April.
Thanks, Claire.
Thank you, Principal Paulson, and congratulations again to April, Rebecca, and future Supreme Court Justice Darina Ballard. All right, we are moving on. Love these presentations. We're going to move on to agenda item C8, our school site parent organization updates. So joining us this evening for the school site reports, we have representatives from Brook Hill and Montgomery. So we could have Martina Cardenas and Vicky Osceola. All right, I see Vicky. And do we have Martina?
And President Sheffield, I'm bringing over Ms. Osceola first with Principal Paulson, since they're doing the report for Montgomery. And then next we'll go ahead and bring over the parent rep for Brook Hill.
Perfect. Thank you, Adina. I guess we will start with you, Vicky. Welcome. I think we have you on mute. We have you on mute, Vicky. If you could unmute yourself.
Sorry.
Perfect.
Hi.
Now I want to see that sign again.
Yay, Rebecca!
Hey, Rebecca.
What would we do without Rebecca at our school and all the Rebeccas out there on all our school sites? So this is my 6th year as president of MEF, Montgomery Education Foundation. We started off the year with a car show, the Alumni Association. We had about 100 cars on our school parking lot. It was just a really fun day. We also had a Project Grad fundraiser called Sips and Sunsets. And all the funds that we've raised are going to this year's Project Grad. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll still be able to have one on June 3rd. And we had to cancel our crab feed this past few weeks ago because of the new restrictions. So we did an online auction. So we did raise some funds for that. We've supported various projects. We've paid for books for book club or sewing machines for drama, Texas, the graphing calculators for our math department, funding for our teachers' luncheon at holidays. So we've just been doing as the best we can. We really appreciate the staff and teachers. We know this is just incredibly just a hard time for our students, our families, and our teachers. They're just so amazing. They're able to teach in these classrooms with these masks. It's just, unbelievable. As parents, we just so are thankful our kids can go to school. And so we are just here to support them as much as we can. Athletics are all, working in progress. The Boosters is having an event. Hopefully that doesn't get shut down at the end of April. But my son's a senior. He's on the Montgomery boys varsity basketball team. It's undefeated. It hasn't been undefeated in like 10 years. So we're excited. We're going to have a game with fans on Friday. So it's about it. we just want to, enjoy every moment and soak up every moment we can.
No, thank you so much, Vicki.
Vicki, thank you for all your years of service as a leader for the
My
Parent
pleasure.
Foundation.
Thank you. My pleasure. It's been the best. These 20 years have been the best years ever that I can, think of. It's just been amazing.
So nice to hear. Thank you. All right. Are we ready to move on to Brook Hill?
Okay. Good evening, members of the board and Superintendent Turnell. My name is Martina Cardenas, and I'm the president of the Brook Hill Parent Faculty Organization. I would like to share with you how PFO supported Brook Hill this year. We worked together with the support of our principal and the teachers to enrich and support the students' education and activities. The parents, along with the principal and teachers, attend the PFO meetings and support our fundraisers. We started out this year promoting PFO, and as a result, we had a growth in membership and constantly has had more families interested in being involved. PFO supported a huge campus beautification project, which created functional outdoor learning places. I want to give a huge thank you to Brook Hill Principal Mrs. Monday and Mrs. Dean for all their hard work on this project. We also supported our boys basketball team, just as we have in the past. And last, we showed our appreciation to our teachers and staff with a luncheon before the winter break. We conducted fundraisers to raise funds, but also to stay active and present during this strange time. We raffled off 3 amazing baskets, which were a huge success, plus the entire school was excited and participated. We are currently working on a Valentine's raffle, which I know will be a huge success. We also have amazing parents that always step up when it comes to fundraising. Last, I want to thank our Brook Hill principal, Mrs. Monday, and all the teachers and all the staff for stepping up and supporting PFO. Without them, nothing could have been possible. Also, a big thanks to all the awesome parents for their input, help, and support of PFO. Thank you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Martina. And thanks to the families at Brook Hill Elementary School. All right, and we do not have a report tonight for Monroe. We're going to move on to agenda item C9, public comment on non-agenda items. So we're going to open it up to the public for non-agenda items. And as we've done in the past, we want to make sure to give time for our students to go first.
Thank you, President Sheffield. Are there any students who would like to comment on an item that is not on the agenda tonight? Please raise your hand. Okay, so we do not have any student hands. We're opening this to the general public. Comments on non-agenda items, and our first comment is Liz Birch.
Good evening, board members and Superintendent Turnell. As the discussion comes up in the coming weeks, I want you to know that I am in support of keeping the mask mandates in our schools for now. Here's why. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics stats on children and COVID, over 12 million children have tested positive for COVID-19 since the onset of the pandemic. Over 1.4 million of these cases have been added in the past 2 weeks. This is based on the most current information as of February 3rd. For the 26th week in a row, child COVID cases are above 100,000. Since the first week of September, there have been nearly 7 million additional child cases. Over the last 2 weeks, there was a 13.6 increase in the cumulated number of child COVID-19 cases since the beginning of the pandemic. Because not all children are yet vaccinated, and because of the continued resistance to vaccination among some of our parent population. I repeat, I am in support of keeping the mask mandates in our schools for now. We may not love it, but we can live with it. Please stay strong and continue to protect our kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, public comment on a non-agenda item is Shelby Pryor.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, board. Thank you for taking the time to go ahead and speak with me this evening. Give me just a second. I have an issue with the fact that in 2017, the County of Sonoma signed a corporate agreement with the CDC for emergency pandemic preparedness. The $5 million contract spans from 2017 to 2022. Each year, the county was required to submit plans, updates for mass vaccination, social distancing, isolation, countering misinformation, et cetera, to the CDC to receive their funds. If they do not continue to follow the CDC's guidance, their funding will be revoked. The contracts expire on June 30th, 2022. And this is the only reason we are now entering an endemic. It is strange that the states of New York and California applied for these grants while the bulk of the rest of the U.S. did not. California alone received $65 million in 2017 for the pandemic preparedness. When we announced this at yesterday's board supervisors meetings, Dr. Mace, who is normally always composed, started shaking and looked like she was going to try. This pandemic was orchestrated years ago, and it is time for you to actually question the legitimacy. How much more obvious do we need to make this for you individuals? I don't understand how we continue to keep going through these things, and you guys don't want to listen. But I'm fed up with looking at you, seeing minorities on the board, and being pressured to be made to put something in my body I don't want to. You guys continue to push that towards everybody, and you have no clue what health is, because I can see you.
Thank you. And President Sheffield, there are no other hands raised for this item.
Thank you. And thank you for those who spoke with your issues and concerns. Adina, do we need to pause for an interpreter switch?
Thanks for asking, President Sheffield. They're both in the channel, so we don't have to do any switches this evening.
Great. All right, thank you. We're going to move on to our D items, reports. D1, California School Employee Association, CSEA reports. Do we have Mary Lehman or a representative from CSEA?
There will be no report for CSEA this evening.
Thank you. Agenda item D2, Santa Rosa Teacher Association report. Do we have President Howell with us?
Yes, she's on her way over.
Welcome, President Howell.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. President Sheffield and Superintendent Trinnell and members of the board, good to be here. I want to start my report with a huge thank you to the CTE teachers of our district. We know that they engage our students and teach them life skills that they can use, not just in high school, but beyond. And especially in Sonoma County, where we need skilled trades people. I'm proud that Santa Rosa City Schools is providing those classes to our students. So thank you to every CTE teacher. I want to move on and show SRTA support for the SR FACTS plan that's going to be discussed tonight and was discussed last week in your not fact finding, but study session. There it is. And SRTA is behind that plan to bring the French language dual immersion program up to Slater for grades 7 and 8. And we know that Santa Rosa City Schools is working hard to secure the necessary visas for the teachers, especially for Ketsia Rafausti, who's one of the teachers I know that is going to be trying to work with our 7th and 8th graders So we're all very supportive of that, and we know that SRCS is working to make sure we keep our hard to get and hard to keep French teachers in place for those 7th and 8th grade program. And then this kind of ties into, as we move on to sort of attracting and retaining, thinking about the sale of the Fur Ridge property. I know that if you look back to June of 2021 and the last discussion we had about it, one of the suggestions was creating a loan program, a loan assistance program for teachers. And I hope that that is still at the top of the list for what to do with the revenue from that property. It's great that SRCS has the ability to be creating a program like this. I know we've all seen it on the news and read it in the newspaper, from the PD to the New York Times to the Wall Street Journal, of teachers leaving the profession, right? 50% of teachers have thought they're going to leave sooner than they'd originally planned. And so it's imperative that Santa Rosa City Schools come up with innovative programs like a loan program, updating and improving our salary placement policies. I know that this board has gotten asked that a few times, but we really need this sort of creative movement and policy to be competitive. It's only the beginning of February, but we're moving into the hiring season. We're looking at positions that have gone unfilled all year, and looking at, what positions are we going to need to fill for next year. So I'm going to leave you with a question of what can this board do through policy or process to, help make sure that Santa Rosa City Schools gets the teachers that we need, can hire really good professional educators that all of our students deserve. So with that, I'll say thank you.
Thank you, President Howell. We will move on to our Superintendent Report, D3. Superintendent Trudeau.
Thank you, Board President Sheffield, members of the board, staff, and our community. I want to just mention that today marks day 112 of school. So, we are excited to be able to continue to have our doors open and students in school in person, full-time, 5 days a week. During the month of February, we have a lot to celebrate. We're celebrating the contributions of multiple members of our district community and our world with our African American History Month resolution. Also, the week of the counselor. We have multiple counselors in our system, and so we salute all of them. And we also want to recognize all of those that contribute to our career technical education as we celebrate CTE month this month. I want to give some brief updates on how we're keeping schools open and safe. So first things first, our COVID case numbers for our district continue to decrease. So we encourage everyone to continue to practice all of the necessary safety measures to ensure that those numbers continue to go in that direction. I want to give an update about pool testing. So pool testing began last week at our elementary sites and this week at our secondary sites. We had a total of about a little over 1,700 kinder through 6th grade students who signed up to participate in the pool testing last week, and almost 3,000 high school students who signed up to participate starting this week. In addition, last week we sent out almost 8,000 first class mailers in English and in Spanish so that we could be sure that families that we haven't heard from yet are aware of this available testing, and encourage them to respond to the request on whether someone is opting out or opting in to participate in the program. A couple of other things, just a reminder, there is no school on Monday, February 14th, and also Monday, February 21st. Those are local and state holidays. And then school site reports from Monroe Elementary, Brook Hill Elementary, and Montgomery High School can be found in the I-4 section of the board agenda tonight. Those are recordings, and you are welcome to watch those at your leisure to get updates from those 3 principals. And with that, Board President Sheffield, I will hand it back to you.
Thank you, Superintendent Turnell. D4, Board President Report. Yeah, I do just a brief report on Monday, the 7th. Sonoma County Committee on School District Organization met. There was a public hearing on West Sonoma County Union High School District transition to by trustee area. And West County had adopted a plan at their last meeting. And the purpose of this week's committee hearing was to formally approve the by trustee map that was selected, presented to us from West County. The committee did approve the map, and we have more to come. Petaluma City Schools has petitioned the committee for the transition to by trustee system as well. There'll be a hearing on March 7th. So, you know, again, offering our sort of expertise in this area. We've done this before. We're going through the process as well. So, you know, open ourself and Superintendent, you and your staff, if there is expertise that we can offer to our sister districts, that would be great. That is all that I have to report. D5 board member reports. Do we have reports? I see Trustee Fong's hand raised. We'll start with you. And you were on mute.
I was trying to remember to lower my hand, so I forgot to unmute. Okay. 2 things at once. Tonight's reports from the schools, the principals' reports that are on the informational section, and the awards to recognition of our employees and our students, so inspirational. And so when we know that we're in the middle of this 2-year pandemic, and we think about learning loss and all that, we really take inspiration. I take inspiration from all the really amazing things happening with the amazing people we have in our schools, including our principals and our teachers, who's where the rubber meets the road, where things are happening in those classrooms. So just so appreciative of everybody on site who's doing the work to benefit everybody in our community. So thank you. Number 2, I'm the president of the Statewide Asian Pacific Islander School Board Association, and we are sponsoring this is for the board members and principals also, and superintendent and our cabinet. We are sponsoring a workshop on Monday at 3 o'clock. It's, I think, not a school day for us and a work day for a lot of people, but it really is focusing on the mental health. It's going to be a great webinar on mental health of the Asian Pacific Islander students. And we have about 7% in our own district if we include everybody under that. And really, those kids tend to be invisible, and their needs are great. And this is a group that really doesn't use mental health services. Historically, they do not use them. And actually the suicide rate for these kids, ideation, is pretty high. So they tend to be invisible, and this workshop might help to, you know, focus a lens on those kids, the kids that we have in our classrooms. So I'm sending you an invitation for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Fong. Trustee Manieri.
Thank you. I just wanted to take a moment to thank a couple of our educators at CCLA who invited me to speak to their government or to their classes in which they were learning about government. They weren't all government classes. So I just want to give a special thanks to Maestra Wood, Maestra Peterson, and Maestra Promise. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I just had such a wonderful time visiting your classrooms and getting to spend some time with your students. And it was the highlight of my entire week. So I just really want to thank them, and also thank LCL and high school for inviting me to their career week. I'm not sure if I already thanked them and mentioned this in the past, but if I haven't, I just wanted to make sure I did that because I also had a really great time being on campus. So thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Manieri. We love those little rewards. Trustee De La Cruz.
Thank you. Thank you. I talked a little bit about the portrait of Sonoma, which came out towards the end of last month during our last meeting, and in celebration of Black History Month, I wanted to just bring our community's attention to the amazing advocacy work of the NAACP, led right now by some incredible Black women who have really taken the portrait and drilled down into the ways in which our policy decisions have specifically impacted the Black community. So it's in that spirit of both, making sure that we're walking into our challenges with our eyes open, but also recognizing the amazing opportunities we have this month and every single month of the year to really make sure that we are celebrating all of the incredible work in our community and the contributions of our Black community. So happy Black History Month.
Thank you, Trustee De La Cruz. Other board members? All right. Do we have a CSBA report?
No report for today. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to our E items, our discussion action items. We'll start with E1, an action item. Back by popular demand, just kidding. A public board meeting via teleconference per AB 361. Superintendent Trunell.
Thank you, Board President Sheffield, members of the board, staff, and community. We bring forward this item each 30 days to ensure that if the board is interested in continuing virtual meetings, that you would vote every 30 days at least to recognize the desire to do so. And that is why the item remains on each board agenda until the time that the board decides to maneuver to a different model of how we meet. And so with that, the request would be for the board to consider whether you would like to continue conducting public meetings virtually as specified in Assembly Bill 361. And with that, I'll hand it back to you, Board President Sheffield.
Thank you. Questions from the board? We have Trustee Flores.
Yeah, with the restrictions being lifted tomorrow, do you know what City Hall's restrictions will be if we were to vote yes for next month? I mean, we vote yes for now, and then we will go next month or our next
30 days.
30 days, right? So next month. So do you know how City Hall is handling that right now?
I actually have a meeting later this week with the city, so I'll be able to understand what they have decided to do with different guidelines being adjusted.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions, board members? Seeing none, this is an action item. We're going to move to public comment. Public comment on agenda item E1.
If there are members of the public who'd like to comment on this item, please raise your hand. There are no hands raised.
All right, thank you. We're going to bring it back to the board for further discussion. Any questions or a motion?
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay. So it's moved for.
Approve. Yeah, we consider the continuation of conducting public meeting virtually as specified.
Second.
All right, moved by Trustee Fong, seconded by Trustee McCormick to extend for the additional 30 days public board meeting via teleconference. Are we ready for a vote? Let's have a vote.
Director Fong.
Aye.
Director McCormick.
Aye.
Director Manieri.
Aye.
Director De La Cruz.
Aye.
Director Flores.
No.
Director Medina.
Aye.
President Sheffield.
Aye. Motion passes. We are going to move on to agenda item E2, a resolution recognizing February as Career Technical Education Month. The board will consider approval of resolution number 2021-2231, recognizing February as Career Technical Education Month for Santa Rosa City Schools. We have Dr. Armstrong and Director Cardozo joining us for this presentation.
Good evening, President Sheffield, trustees, Superintendent Trinnell, Santa Rosa employees, and of course our community guests. It is an honor. My name is Dr. Armstrong. I serve as Associate Superintendent of Educational Services, and it's an honor to put forth this resolution, as CTE is a wonderful addition to what we're able to offer in our educational programming. I imagine a world where students are able to access internships and externships in the career of their choice. Of course, we have wonderful leadership in the CTE arena, as well as superb teachers. And I call on one of those wonderful folks to introduce the resolution. Cardozo.
Thank you, Dr. Armstrong. I am very excited to bring forward this resolution to recognize February as Career Technical Education Month in Santa Rosa City Schools. I was a CTE student when I was in high school, and I'm also a former agriculture teacher. So I know firsthand the positive impact that these programs have on our students. From providing relevant and meaningful learning experiences to teaching academic content and technical skills, to providing our students opportunities to participate in career technical student organizations such as FFA and Skills USA and FCCLA, where they can further develop their leadership abilities. These programs truly are preparing students to be ready for college, career, and life. I am very proud of our CTE teachers and staff that are working incredibly hard to support our students. Thankful to our industry, community, and post-secondary partners for wanting to work with us to enhance, improve, and expand our programs. And finally, I just want to thank each and every one of you for your continued support and acknowledgement of the importance of career technical education in Santa Rosa City Schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Cardozo. This is an action item. Are there questions from the board at this time? Seeing none, we will go on to public comment on agenda item E2.
If there are any members of the public that would like to comment on E2, please raise your hand at this time. There are no hands raised.
Thank you. We'll bring it back to the board for discussion, further questions, or a motion. Trustee Manieri.
I would like to move to approve this resolution recognizing February as Career Technical Education Month.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Trustee Manieri, seconded by Trustee Flores. Can we have a vote?
Director Manieri.
Aye.
Director Flores.
Aye.
Director De La Cruz.
Aye.
Director Fong.
Aye.
Director McCormick.
Aye.
Director Medina.
Aye.
President Sheffield.
Aye. Motion passes. All right, we are going to, and thank you, Director Cardozo and Dr. Armstrong. We are going to move on to agenda item E3, another action item, approval of board members' school site liaison assignments for 2022. Tonight, the board will consider approval of the board members' school site liaison assignments for the remainder of the year and into next year, school year. In 1998, the board established the school site liaison assignments so that all district schools would be visited on a regular basis by at least one board member. This practice was implemented long before by trustee areas. This goes back 20 years. We've historically revisited the liaison assignments on an annual basis, usually around this time of year. Can we put the liaison site assignments on the screen? And if not, that's okay. We do have them in our packet. Well, the proposal tonight, here we go. Great. Thank you. This is just for the public to view. The proposal tonight is to consider keeping last year's assignments. The thinking is that the pandemic made getting around to the sites a bit of a challenge. And so we just want to, as we have done in the past, revisit this idea. Again, this is an action item. Do we have questions from the board right now? I see Trustee Flores' hand raised.
Well, I don't know if it's a question or a statement, but you know, like you said, President Sheffield, this was instituted in 1998, way before trustee, districts were implemented here. And to me, this seems like a very antiquated sort of way of doing things. We are elected by our trustee areas, and these are our neighborhood schools, right? So I go out of my way to make sure that I visit my neighborhood schools, and having these liaisons assignments, personally, it adds more stress because I have not visited Maria Carrillo or Rincon Valley, right? I mean, I make sure that I visit the schools that I represent here, right? Obviously, I represent every single school, but since we're in district areas, I go out of my way to make sure that I visit at least my neighborhood schools, right? So I just don't know why we keep going back to this very last century sort of idea of these liaison stratification of sites, right? So and I think it's important for for us to visit any sort of school, right? And not just be limited to our liaison area. So so I don't know. I think there's more to discuss here. Definitely, your question is more around the why. Why are we continuing doing this when we have by trustee districts, and this is a practice that we put in place long ago, and so I definitely appreciate that. Maybe there's room for more discussion. Are there questions? I'll just fill out the questions right now, and then we'll come back to the discussion. Okay. All right.
Very good point. So, Trustee Flores. Trustees, questions? Okay. I do not see hands raised. If I'm missing you, please shout out. Let's go to public comment, and we'll come back to the board for discussion. So at this
If there are
time,
members,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
President Sheffield, thank you. If there are members of the public who'd like to comment on E3, please raise your hand. There are no members raising their hand.
All right. Well, let's then bring it back to the board for discussion, further questions, or even a motion. All right, now we are back. Trustee Flores, I'm going to go right to you to continue your thoughts.
Right. So like I mentioned, I think this is very antiquated, right? And then as trustees, we should be allowed to go to pretty much all the school districts, but we should put emphasis in our districts, right? Obviously, I get it. Some of us have more schools than the other districts. I understand that, right? And this is why I think it's important for us to intermingle and go around and not just be limited to our districts, right? And but like I said earlier, I go out of my way to make sure that I visit my neighborhood schools, right? And not making it to any of these schools. I did not make it to any of these schools last year. Makes it a little bit more anxious, for me, because now I need to go out of my way to make sure I visit these schools as well. Obviously, I would love to go visit all the schools, but I work full time.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. The other issue that I want to bring up is that, because I don't know how the board is going to vote here on this, is that traditionally the president has not had, that many sort of schools, right? So, and this time around, it looks like we're keeping the same things as last year. But given the fact that, since you're president, you have a lot more responsibilities, I don't think it would be fair for, for you to have the same sort of, schools that we have here. So just.
I appreciate that.
Food for thought, because I saw that and I was like, oh my God. So, and I know last year we agreed that, Director Fong or, former President Fong was going to take those 2 extra ones, right? Because it didn't seem like it was going to be that much more work because it was 2 brand new sites. But anyway, that's just food for thought. I'm just a little bit, taking it back that we're using something that was implemented, last century, and we're still using that as a way of, delineating, our responsibilities.
Yeah.
When we have district, our districts in here in Sonoma County, in Santa Rosa. Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Trustee Flores. More discussion, Trustee Fong.
So yeah, 2 things. In answer ever to what your concern was, when we first did this is historic. This is how we used to do it. But then along with the by trustee elections, the decision was made by the board, a former board, that we would continue to have these liaison schools outside of our trustee areas in order that we don't just concentrate on the ones in our district with the ones where people are voting for us. It really is something to almost force board members to pay attention to all the schools, which we do. So that was the message for that. I think I understood that with the knowledge that we would go visit our, trustee area schools anyway. So I think it is tough for us to go see schools when we're working full time, but that's what we do. We're elected board members, and that's part of the name of the game. Secondly, this list is last year's list.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would suggest that we trade, President Sheffield, you and I trade, because I'll take the Elsie Allen, Cesar Chavez, et cetera, and you take the Learning House, Lewis Ed Center. That makes sense to me.
Okay. Other thoughts, other board members? We have, I don't see any hands raised. This proposal tonight is to consider keeping last year's assignments. And we have 2 suggestions. One is eliminating the assignments altogether. Another is making adjustments to this. In either case, we would have to bring it back at a later date if we are to make any changes. But I just want to point that out. I see Vice President McCormick's hand raised.
Well, I think someone, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we could make a motion to approve it with some changes. Could we not do that this evening?
We can do that. If we were going to make a motion to eliminate the proposal, then that would be something that we would have to bring back at a later date.
Okay, so first thing I'd like to say is that I appreciate that we are rolling over the same list because it was really hard to get to these schools, especially when a large part of last year was virtual and online. And I think any sort of consistency right now would be helpful, and to build off any relationships or connections that we've made in the last year, and or if we haven't, then we could extend that now during this year, which is a little bit easier since school's back in session. So I would like to make a motion that we approve the site liaisons as listed here. However, I would like to make a change that we flip-flop because of the president's job and capacity level that we flip-flop Director Fong's and President Sheffield's liaisons on this list, because that seems to make sense to me.
Can I also add that, just FYI, everybody, that none of the schools in your area, President Sheffield, are actually in my trustee area. So that's in keeping with everybody else.
Okay. Well, we have a motion.
So I second that motion.
It's moved and seconded to keep this list, but to trade Director Fong with my assignments. I guess we'll have a vote.
President Sheffield, I believe Director Fong seconded the motion. Who called the motion?
I did, Director or Vice President McCormick.
Director McCormick.
Aye.
Director Fong.
Aye.
Director Manieri.
Aye.
Director De La Cruz.
Aye.
Director Flores.
I know where this is going, so aye.
Director Medina.
Aye.
President Sheffield.
I know where this is going to, and I'm going to say no for you, but also I think it might be time for us to consider, but the motion passes and we will move on to our next agenda item. E4, a public hearing, Santa Rosa French American Charter School request for material revision to charter. The Board of Education will conduct a public hearing to solicit input from members of the public on the Santa Rosa French American Charter Schools request for revision to the charter. Make sure that I'm doing this correctly. Okay, I'm going to open the meeting for public comment and community input. Do we have community folks ready to speak? Agenda item E4, the public hearing.
It looks like we do. Our first comment is Annie. Annie, if you could please state your full name for the record. And before we go, President Sheffield, is this a 2-minute time limit?
Yes, let's keep it a 2-minute time limit. Thank you.
Thank you. And Annie, could you state your last name, please?
Yeah, it's Annie Ebner.
Thank you.
Thank you. We just wanted to express our support for the addition of 7th and 8th grade. We have 2 children at Santa Rosa French American School, and hopefully a 3rd will join them when she comes of school age. But their experience there has been extraordinary. My 8-year-old came in with absolutely 0 French and is now in 3rd grade able to speak, read, and write with fluency. The school has strong and experienced teachers, staff, and leadership, and there's a good community among the families of the school. The students are motivated and hardworking, as well as globally minded. And adding the 7th and 8th grades for SRFAC students would be so beneficial to our students. They would be able to build on their skills in language. They would have a positive transition to junior high where they can have continuity with their education. On top of that, our community is well equipped to expand to 7th and 8th grade with the strong leadership and dedicated teachers. So we fully understand that this has been a unique opportunity, and we're grateful that we have had the opportunity to go to a French American immersion school right here in Santa Rosa. So anyways, I just wanted to express the support. Thank you for your consideration, and hope that you vote to support the addition of 7th and 8th grades for our SRFAC students.
Thank you. Next is Margaret Stevens.
Hi, I basically the same thing that she said right before me. I would just really appreciate the school extending to junior high or 7th and 8th grade, junior high. And she said it much better than I can. So ditto. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Ben Wolfe.
Hi, good evening. Yes, my name is Ben Wolfe. I'm a parent of two kiddos over at the French American Charter School, also president of the Parent Association. It's the same message that you're going to hear from me and the other parents that are excited about this possibility here. Over the last number of weeks, I know you've heard from a number of parents in support of restoring the 7th/8th charter back into the overall SR Facts charter. And I know also the 6th grade class sent over a video a few weeks back, that a video message they made expressing their hopes for a French middle school option. Which they were very excited about putting together, had a fun activity doing that as well, engaging with them. And then I know recently as well, I sent over a letter that was signed by over 300 parents that were showing support for this idea as well. So all that to say, interest is high. We're excited about this possibility here. It's high interest, not only with the 6th grade families that are right now, of course, making decisions about next year, but with families of the younger students as well, who are going to be excited to know that there's an option, French immersion option through 8th grade and potentially through high school with the French IB program in the future, which would also be fantastic. So I just want to say thank you for your support of language immersion learning in our district through both CCLA and also through SR Facts. It's just amazing to have options like these available in a public education system like this. So thank you for the effort that's gone into supporting these programs and exploring the possibility of bringing back the 7th/8th French American Charter School. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Joe Mattel.
Hi, this is actually Bribiana Mattel, but somehow I don't use Zoom correctly. Anyway, thank you so much for considering this proposal for restoring 7th and 8th grade at Santa Rosa French American Charter School. Our family and community are very excited about this opportunity to continue French language learning in Santa Rosa City schools. I have a 6th grader and a 3rd grader, so I have the immediate need of looking next year and really wanting to stay in Santa Rosa schools, and a 3rd grader who would love to follow his sister one day. The other thing I just wanted to say is right now we get to walk to school with 6 of our neighbors, and the idea of being able to walk to middle school with those neighbors as well is really exciting. So thank you very much for your consideration and all of your work on behalf of all of the children in Santa Rosa.
Thank you. Next is Brittany Westerman.
Hi, I am a parent of 2 children at the French American Charter School, and I will sort of echo what has been said already. We chose this school for a variety of reasons, including its focus on raising global citizens. My children actually started at a local preschool and are very, very excited about the possibility of reinstating the 7th and 8th grades. I think I have a little bit of a different perspective because I am a former Slater student and I attended Montgomery's IB program a million years ago. So as someone who grew up in the Santa Rosa City School District, I just wanted to say that I'm deeply supportive of 7th and 8th grade being on Slater's campus. And I really want to thank you for all of the work you've done in the district for this immersion school and also CCLA and everything that you're doing to help, encourage multiple languages in the community. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Next is Melissa Liu.
Hi, my name is Melissa Liu, and I'm a parent of a 5th grade student at SR Facts. I wanted to express my appreciation for the presentation discussion last Wednesday regarding reestablishing 7th and 8th grade in the SR Facts charter document. We are one of the families that are not in district for elementary schools, but enrolled at SR Facts for the French education program and are very happy with what the school has provided. My kids have learned about different culture, language, and diversity. Sadly, when my son graduated last year, he went to another school district because he did not have a path to continue his immersion studies. We are so encouraged and excited for this opportunity for our daughter to continue with French immersion in middle school and potentially the French IB program for high school. Please approve the revision to the SR Facts charter document. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is B. Affronti. If you could state your full name for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Brittany Affronti. I am the parent of a kindergartner at Starfax, and I just wanted to say that we absolutely love this school. We actually moved to Santa Rosa specifically so that our child could attend the French American School, and it led our family to really dig our roots down here. I'm now a teacher in Santa Rosa City Schools, and I desperately would love for my son to be able to continue on his education into 7th and 8th grade and potentially beyond. The school has such a wonderful, rich community, and it has been such a great experience, and I'm so proud.
Thank you. Next is Evelyn Gonzalez.
Hola, mi nombre es Evelyn González y yo soy orgullosamente la representante del programa de ELAC en la Escuela Francoamericana y les pido que por favor aprueben añadir el año 7 y 8 a la escuela, ya que es muy importante para estos niños aprender otro idioma. Mi hija ahorita habla inglés, español y está aprendiendo francés. Yo sé que ella va a tener mejores beneficios cuando crezca. Desde antes que ella naciera, yo sabía que tenía que ir a esta escuela. Me encanta los maestros, me encanta la principal Evelyn, sus detalles, su orgullo de estar en esta escuela, y les pido que por favor aprueben añadir el año 7 y 8. Muchas gracias.
Gracias. Do we have an interpreter to translate that into English?
I can do it if you want to.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Thank you. I think our interpreter is busy in the interpretation channel. Thank you very much.
That's okay. I am Evelyn Gonzalez, and I am the proud representative of ELAC at SR Fax. I just want to ask for you guys to please approve adding 7th and 8th grade to the school. It's very, very important for my daughter to keep learning French. She currently speaks English, Spanish, and now she's learning French. So it is very important for her and for me, for her to learn French. She wants to be a chef. She wants to go to France. So I don't want her to skip 2 years and miss out on the opportunities. I want to thank all the teachers on this school, the principal. They are wonderful people. And I just ask you to please approve adding 7th and 8th grade to the school. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for translating that for us too. Next is Bibiana Sullivan.
Hi, good evening. I'm a mother of a child at the Santa Rosa French American Charter School. She's in the 1st grade. The school has been challenging for her, but I love that about it because the support is there. If they continue that on to middle school, I can only see great things for all the students who attend. It's a wonderful thing. And like everybody has said, I really hope that they continue on to the 7th and 8th grade and reconsider the charter. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Meredith and Adam Brand, or perhaps one or the other. Are you there, Brands?
I just wanted to say thank you to the board and thank you for the support of the SRTA in considering the extension of bringing back our 7th and 8th grade. When my daughter started as a kindergartner 7 years ago, we had middle school on our campus, and I was devastated when we maxed out on the campus and we lost our 7th and 8th graders. And never in my wildest dreams did I think it would be even attainable to get that back in time, possibly for her to continue on with her French education. She is a 6th grader. She will be going into 7th grade this coming fall. I also have a 2nd grader at Surfax. Neither my husband and I speak French, but I can tell you that the fluency of the children is outstanding. Anytime I find a native speaker, they speak with my children and they comment about their accent and how proficient they are. Something that speaks to that, I'm not sure if the board is aware, there is an exam that's given to all the sixth graders called a DELF exam. This is for non-native French speakers in their fluency. Despite COVID, last year, 100% of the sixth graders at Surfax passed that first exam. It's the first of 4 exams they take prior to completing their high school education. And this only helps to help them find careers or even further education outside of the United States when they become that age. And otherwise, I only really wanted to comment and just say that, you know, so many of our children at this school are learning a 3rd and 4th language. This is not just kids learning to be bilingual. These are trilingual children, and we can't stop that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you for sticking with the 2-minute time limit. Next is Bibiana Pisoni.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. My name is Bibiana Pisoni. I was born in Medellin, Colombia, and I became an American citizen in 2019. I had the privilege to study for 6 years in France and saw firsthand the values and the richness of the French education. I am the mother of 2 sons, one of them, Lucas, who is currently on 1st grade at the French American Charter School, and a son that is becoming 5 soon, Diego, who is applying to be on kindergarten for the coming school year. When my husband and I found out that the Santa Rosa School District had a French American charter school, we were very excited. We all know that bilingual education has a lot of benefits for the mental, emotional, and social development of our children, to become global citizens and allow them to thrive and develop to the best of their abilities. Our community is already benefiting so much from having the SR facts going from TK to 6th grade. So extending the education to 7th and 8th grade will allow students to stay at the same school up until high school. I am hopeful and excited about the opportunity to have a complete immersion education from kindergarten to 8th grade for my 2 sons and all children in our community that are currently or in the future enrolled at SRFAX. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Efrain Carrillo.
Yes, good evening, President Sheffield, honorable trustees, Efrain Carrillo. I have 2 children at SR Fax, a 6th grader and a kindergartner. I apologize for the background noise. I'm actually out here at Montgomery High School with the Monty boys playing Elsie Allen High School soccer, enjoying that as part of my evening. My 6th grader started at SR Fax as a kindergartner, as an English language learner in a Spanish-speaking household. And we've enjoyed the opportunity of a great academic curriculum, expanding the language opportunities, and we have that same opportunity for our kindergartner. We certainly support the opportunity to extend that to 7th and 8th grade. I'd love the fact if the school district, and this is certainly not my idea, but I do think that there's significant momentum and support for language academy across the board within the Santa Rosa City School District. Whether it's here at Slater or elsewhere, CCLA has demonstrated incredible progress, incredible growth. And I do think that there's a ton to be said about the language and the culture component that's brought in bringing community together. That's been seen at SR Fax, it's certainly seen at CCLA, and we hope it could be seen at the 7th and 8th grade for a French immersion program. Thank you.
Thank you. And next is Michelle. Michelle, could you please state your full name for the record?
Hi, my name's Lucia. I'm one of the 6th graders, and I really like to have a 7th grade. And can I say that in French?
Go for it.
Absolutely.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Lucia, je suis en 6e et je veux vraiment aller en 7e en français. Thank you.
Merci, thank you so much. President Sheffield, there are no other hands raised for this public hearing.
Thank you. With no more input from the public, the public hearing is closed. Following the public hearing and last week's study session, I'm going to bring it back to the board for agenda item E5, revising the French American Charter document to include grades 7th and 8th. We have with us Principal Anderson. Hello, Principal Anderson, and we have Dr. Armstrong to present to us.
Thank you for that, President Sheffield. And we also have John Ye, our advising attorney, if he could be brought over in case there's questions. Let's see if
He's on his way.
okay, perfect. Well, I do want to recognize that he is in attendance tonight, and just a couple of points I wanted to bring up before the board considers taking action. And definitely want to thank you all for your time last week in the study session so that we could properly discuss the charter revisions and consider the future of this multilingual international theme that we have definitely going on. So on behalf of Ed Services, we bring forth this item. We are definitely interested in the 7th and 8th grade being extended onto French American Charter, and just believe that the revision is a testament to the work that the board is doing to attract and retain students in our district. You know, it's no secret that we offer the only public free education for the French language west of Louisiana. And we're proud of that and feel that we can continue to build upon that. And at the same time, honoring the commitment and the expectation for CCLA and LC Allen to become a pathway for multilingual learners, and that's starting with our newcomers. We truly feel that World House school motto is, I think, indicative of the dedication in building opportunities that hopefully will pull in other languages, as we have French and Spanish, and the world of possibilities with Mandarin and Vietnamese and some other languages that definitely make our students more competitive. Also, just the potential to reinstate 7th and 8th grade back into French American will not deter that work. So we strongly believe that it's not an either or, but that it's an and. And again, as I said, strengthening our position in not only Sonoma County, but in the state of California to be an international powerhouse where our students are bilingual, multilingual, in some cases, trilingual, I should say, biliterate and bicultural. So we are prepared to bring forth that information in the next 2 board meetings so that we could share a little bit more about the progress and the design work. So as of today, the French American Charter School has received 31 registration requests for families who want to keep their students. And we had originally said that the minimum to add 7th grade would be 20 that's the fiscal part of it. And so we are excited to announce that we've exceeded that so far by 11. And so with that, we present the French American Charter revision document for your consideration tonight.
You said the only public French immersion west
free, yes. Yeah, only 4 across the United States that's certified by the French consulate.
Wow. That's amazing. I had no idea. I don't know. So board questions. I see Trustee Flores.
Well, I just want to commend you, Principal Anderson, because last time you said you had 23, families that were thinking of doing this. How did you come about the extra, families to join the middle school?
Yeah, well, thank you. It started with a parent saying we have lots of questions that are still out there. And so we pulled together a little town hall, and Principal Mitch Tucker joined us, and he was wonderfully gracious. We took him away from his family one evening, and he answered lots of questions about Slater and about how he envisioned the program. And I think that was very helpful. And then in addition, I have been pushing out a few messages.
Yeah, because I did hear a couple of families were apprehensive about that. Thank you for doing that. Okay, right.
Thank you, Trustee Flores. Other board members, this is an action item. So if we have discussion, further questions, or a motion, we have Trustee Fong.
I want to thank everyone who's done work on this, and as you know that I'm in favor of this, but I also know that there is a road ahead for us to make. As I always say, we make that path by walking it. So I think the intentions are good. Parents are on board, kids are on board, principals and all people at the district who make this happen. It doesn't happen without a lot of work. So thank you in advance for this work. I'd like to make a motion to support this. Approval of the Santa Rosa French American Charter Schools Charter Document Revision to include grades 7th and 8th.
Second.
Second.
You're muted, President Sheffield.
Whoop, I'm sorry. A motion by Trustee Fong, seconded by Trustee Flores. I do see Stephanie Manieri's hand raised. We have a motion on the table. Trustee Manieri?
Okay, yeah, I just, I also want to thank all the work that's been going into this, and something that came out of our study session last week that I just want to elevate this week too is, and I'm really thankful for the comments that were made during the public hearing as well, just the opportunity to the opportunities that are coming our way with what this means, and just the bigger picture, the bigger conversation that this board still needs to have to address some of those ideas that were brought forth during the study session, and then we also heard in our public hearing. So I want to elevate that and say that there's still so much work to do, and this is just a piece of the puzzle, and I'm really looking forward to making sure that we have we have access, we have equitable access to these kinds of programs for all of our students.
Well said. Thank you, Trustee Manieri. All right, we have a motion and seconded, moved by Trustee Fong, seconded by Trustee Flores. Are we ready for a vote?
Director Beard is having technical difficulties, but she did say aye.
Thank
Director Fong.
Aye.
Director Flores.
Aye.
Director Manieri.
Aye.
Director De La Cruz. Director De La Cruz.
Looks like she's frozen.
Director McCormick.
Aye.
Director Medina.
Oh.
President Sheffield.
Aye. All right, with that, the motion passes. Congratulations, Principal Anderson. Congratulations to your school community, our school community, on this expansion to 7th and 8th grade.
Thank you very, very much.
All right, we are going to move on. Do we still have Trustee De La Cruz frozen? No, she's popped out. We're going to move on to agenda item E6, another public hearing, the impact of 2020 census data on trustee area map population balance and proposed adjustment maps. The board will conduct a public hearing to receive information regarding the assessment of the trustee area map as required by Education Code. with the release of the 2020 California census data and to seek input and feedback from the community. Before we open the hearing, I will turn the meeting over to Superintendent Trunell.
Thank you, Board President Sheffield, members of the board, community, and our staff who are present here tonight. Thank you for the opportunity to bring yet another opportunity for discussion and questions from the board and from the public regarding any potential adjustments to the area maps. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Milton Foster, who will share some additional information.
All right, good evening, board members. I'm going to share my screen if you allow me. All right, so we went through most of this several times over. Just to recap, again, the district is in a by-trustee area district, and as required under 50.19.5A, following each census, the board is required to conduct an assessment of its existing map to determine if there is population compliance. In this instance, we had a demographer conduct that and complete that assessment and determine the population is no longer balanced. No longer balanced means that the variance between the largest and smallest trustee area is greater than 10%. As a result, the board is required to adjust the boundary lines in its maps in order to achieve the population variance beneath 10%. And so we're here to present to the board another opportunity. We've provided a number of maps. You see here, this is the kind of the data that demonstrates the district is out of compliance. The present map is 22.4% variance, needs to be 10% or less. And so as the board knows, we have provided 3 maps for the board's review and consideration, which we'll get to now. Again, this is the current trustee areas here. And we'll go through the 3 maps again today. We've added some data. We've added the school sites here for just so that the board can have an opportunity to see where those exist. We also have the purple lines here, which demonstrate the present current trustee areas. We have the school sites broken down by high school. You have the elementary ones. We have the lower level. And then we also have some definition demonstrating the streets that go between the individual trustee areas. And so this is the first scenario here. As you might have noticed, there's not a lot of difference between each of the scenarios. The reason being is that the demographer took the approach of maintaining the integrity of the original map and pursuant to 5019.5, adjusting the boundaries only so as necessary to achieve the population variance. And so if you can look at trustee or scenario 1, you'll see that for the most part, except with some limited exceptions, they largely stayed within the original boundaries. The next slide shows a close-up here where you can see some of the distinctions there where the green, some of the green had to intrude into the yellow and some of the red into the blue area. And we have some of the yellow in the middle of the page intrude down into the blue area, as well as some of the, I guess we'll call it peach, intrude over into the blue. And so there's very few differences. They're very minute. I walk through them with you. So this is scenario 1, the close in. You'll see here that the variance, just a second. The variance, sorry, it's hard to see. The live closed caption sits right across the area where the variance is, but it looks like 6.1% for scenario 1. Okay, this is scenario 2 here. The main difference between this and scenario 1 is down in the southern portion of the district. In scenario 1, that little rabbit's foot, if you will, down the southernmost portion is blue. In this section, in this scenario, the tip of that rabbit's portion pointing to the left is purple. So that's the main difference here between these two. There's also in the middle of the page right here, this niche is a little bit more extended in scenario 2 than it is in scenario 1. It's very limited, but again, the demographer was trying to keep everything intact and only shifted the population in order to get the compliance that we needed population-wise. Here is a close-up, again, showing the school locations and showing some of the streets that have the borders, identify the streets where the borders are. Again, you can see in this scenario as well that they stayed very close to the original design of the existing trustee area map. The first one was 6.1. This one, 6.4 is the variance here. So very close, within 0.3 of each other. Then we have scenario 3, which again is very similar. There's very small change right here between there and also here, almost kind of imperceptible. But there's enough population there where if we when the demographer moved the census blocks there, that it brought the district back into compliance. So again, here is a close-up of scenario 3. And then as far as the data, the information, looks like it's 5.5 as far as the variance. So all of them roughly within 0.5 to 0.7% variance. All of them are legally viable. And so I'm here to answer any questions or just hear any feedback from the board. As far as next steps, you have a meeting, I believe it's the next meeting is February 23rd, correct me if I'm wrong. That will be the final date where the board will look to make a selection from these 3 maps, unless the board provides direction right now that they'd like to see a different or a 4th map or an additional option presented for the board to consider. So with that, I will take questions now or feedback.
Milton, if we could hold, we do want to open the public hearing and then we'll come back to you for questions.
Sure.
All right. So at this time, we will open the public hearing. If we have members of the community who would like to provide input, comments on trustee area maps, population balance, and proposed adjustments.
If any members of the public would like to comment during this public hearing, item E6, please raise your hand. President Sheffield, there are no hands raised for this public hearing.
Thank you. With no input from the community, I'm going to close the public hearing, and thank you for your patience, Mr. Foster, bringing it back to the board for questions.
This is more of a question maybe for Director Manieri, if she's here. I can't see.
I'm here.
Oh, hi. So I know our districts are, being moved a little bit. And you had some questions last time as to in terms of neighborhoods, right? Making sure that we kept those neighborhoods whole. I just want to make sure, how do you feel about the infringement? Because it looks like I'm taking, a few, blocks of Roseland. I'm welcome to have that, but I just want to see, have you been able to see, if it'll affect, certain communities, is that something we need to take a look at? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I really appreciate the question. And I just closed all my maps, so I'm gonna open them again. Was there one scenario that you were looking at more than another, or just kind of all of them in general?
Well, I mean, it looks like all of them, I go into Roseland regardless, right?
Right.
And then I think Jill will take on, you know, some of my you know, section, and she'll take Lehman Elementary. And I'll talk to her about that later. But I just want to see, you know, if there's a scenario that you prefer over another one in those, because it seems like, you know, a few streets from here, but it may be like whole neighborhoods once you know, go to the micro level.
Yeah, it's really hard to see like the smaller streets on these maps. I don't know if, yeah, we can see like the bigger kind of intersections and boundaries.
Right.
But it's hard to see what it looks like on a more zoomed in scale. I think I would want to maybe ask our demographer, or I don't know if Milton, if this is something that our demographer can provide. Oh, sorry, questions first and then discussion.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess this is discussion.
This is discussion, yeah.
Cool. Well,
I'll
I'll keep looking at that until we get to the discussion part.
No, we can have discussions here, Trustee Manieri.
Okay. Yeah, I'm wondering, Milton, is there a way that the demographer can provide some sort of like GIS link that has these maps that we can zoom in really closely into?
I think we actually, the district already has that capability on its website, if I'm not mistaken. I know Rick could help me out here, but I believe the demographer provided the ability to click, and I think it's connected to like Google Maps, and you can zoom in as close as you want, and it goes all the way down to the individual street levels. So each map is uploaded. You can click on each map and then zoom down, and then you can get, because otherwise this is a PDF for purposes of the presentation. It would be really difficult to get every last street name identified. So we did provide that access on the website to do just what I think you are requesting.
Yes, I see it. Actually, well, I'm gonna click on this link. I clicked on the links on our website, and then they just, the updated map scenario 1, 2, and 3 were also PDFs, but I'm gonna click on the link provided now. Thank you.
Director Manieri, if you click on the link immediately above that.
Right, the one that says link to map. Yeah.
Link to maps, that takes you to the, lack of a better term, interactive Google map.
Awesome. I think, yeah, for the sake of time, I appreciate the question, Director Flores, and to give a meaningful response, I think a little bit of time to look at it is would be helpful.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, though.
Trustee Flores, do you have additional questions or?
No, I'm just, well, the other one is to Director McCormick, you know, Vice President McCormick. It looks like she's getting a new school. And I'm losing one school. So congratulations, you know, because it looks like that's in every single scenario. But that's not really a question, just an observation. That's it.
Thank you, Trustee Flores. Trustee Medina.
I hope y'all can hear me. I just wanted to express my support for scenario 3 because it has the least variance. I think it was 5.5. And I think most of the maps are similar. I really did not like the scenario 2. I think that has a big purple kind of wrapping around the blue. It just seems kind of weird to have that, but scenario 3 is the one that I think makes most sense to me because of that decreased variance.
I'm sorry, what did Omar say? The least what? You had the least what?
Variance.
Variance.
Thank you.
Okay, other trustees? If I'm missing you, just shout out. Okay. No more discussion on this item? Is that what I'm seeing here? All right. Well, this was a discussion item. Seeing no more discussion. Thank you, Milton.
All right. You all have a great evening.
Before we move on to the next item, I'm just wondering, when the next steps, if we could have that for the public on the process.
Sure. So the next steps on February 23rd is where the board will make a determination amongst these three maps, which map will be the trustee area map for the district for governing board elections moving forward. There will be a resolution which will kind of reflect the process the district has undergone, and then allow for selection of the map. Once that map is chosen at the next meeting and the resolution presumably approved, that will be forwarded to the county committee as a heads up, just to advise, hey, this is the new map, along with the shape files, as well as the county registrars. A letter will go out to each of those entities, which we will prepare on the district's behalf, and attach the resolution as well as the shape files, and advise that this is going to be the district's new map moving forward, beginning with the 2022 elections, until such time, of course, as when the next census comes out in 2030. And then that is the end of the process. So once the board makes a determination, we just send out the notifications, and that'll be it. But what is required to be done is that the board selects its new map on or before March 1st, which will take place at your February 23rd board meeting. Everything after that is just providing notice of the decision that the board took.
Thank you, Mr. Foster. All right, for the public, we will be bringing this item back. We'll have an action item. Looks like February 23rd, we'll finalize on a map. All right, we are going to keep moving along the agenda. Thank you again, Milton. Nice to see you again.
All right, bye.
All right, moving on to agenda item E7, a discussion of proposals received regarding Fir Ridge property. The board will receive information on the proposal for the purchase of Fir Ridge property. We have Deputy Superintendent Rick Edson with us tonight.
Thank you, President Sheffield, members of the board. Also joining me is Mr. James Traber.
Hey, Jim.
Legal counsel from F3 to assist with this as well. This is for essentially sunshining the proposals that we received for the Fir Ridge property through the process that we went through, including, as noted in the board cover, the application to the State Board of Education for a waiver to expedite some of the selling process, and also allowing us to request or ask for RFPs or proposals for the use of that land. Through this process, we advertised the property in late November and December. Proposals were due to the district mid-January. Through that process, we have received one proposal that was included on the board agenda from Christopherson Homes. And from here, this needs to be available for 30 to 60 days while staff and legal negotiate contract terms to bring back to the board for consideration of approval at a future date to be determined. I'll ask Mr. Traber if he'd like to add anything to that.
Thank you, Rick. I think you really did a great job of covering it. At this point, this item is really simply to satisfy one of the requirements that the state board put on granting our waiver. They asked that we have an open session and disclose the proposal, and then bring it back within 30 to 60 days thereafter for approval and entering into a contract. There's really no action to be taken this evening. It's just a matter of disclosing that this is the proposal that we received. So.
All right, this is a discussion item. Questions from the board. I see Trustee Flores.
So I see that there were two proposals and one, withdrew. I just want to make sure that this proposal is sound, right? So is one, I want to know, what happened to that proposal, and two, is there any risk that this proposal or this firm might withdraw their application, or they're set with once they submit it, they're pretty much set on those terms, or can they still withdraw?
Sure. So I think I can answer that. So the first proposal that withdrew, I think, was lower than this proposal and asked us, what the other proposal was. And when we told them, they were not interested in continuing. They were not similar proposals in terms of price. They were significantly different. And in terms of whether this proposer can back out, the answer to that is yes, until you get into a contract with them. At this point, it's simply a proposal from them that we have not accepted yet. Once we get into a contract with them under the terms that they've proposed, they will have a due diligence window where they can review the property and make sure that it is what they think it is and that it's going to work. It's pretty common in these types of transactions. They need time to make sure that they can do what they want to do with the property. I believe in this case, their proposal is 90 days is what they're proposing in terms of a due diligence window. If they were to back out after that, they can back out within the first 90 days. If they were to find that there's something wrong with the property, they can't use it or whatever. After that, though, if they backed out after 90 days, they would forfeit their deposit, which in this case is $250,000. So, once you hit that 90-day marker, they're pretty sure that they're going forward or they're giving you notice.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Other questions from the board? Okay, seeing none, we will go to public comment on agenda item E7, proposal received regarding Fir Ridge property.
If any members of the public would like to comment on this item, please raise your hand. Item E7. There are no hands raised.
Thank you. We'll bring it back to the board for discussion, further questions. All right, seeing none. Nice to see you, Jim. Thank you. Take care. Rick, stick around. We've got you for the next agenda item, E8, discussion West County Transportation Agency annual costs. The board will receive information on the annual cost of bus transportation provided by the West County Transportation Agency. Deputy Superintendent Edson.
Thank you, President Sheffield, members of the board. Tonight, I brought forward a board member request to discuss the pricing or the cost to Santa Rosa City Schools since the transition to, or from rather, first student to West County Transportation Agency. Santa Rosa City Schools in 2015 chose to move bus service to West County Transportation Agency for the start of the 16-17 school year. I will share my screen briefly just to show the table that was provided showing our realized costs from 12-13, school year 12-13 through 2021. Of note on the asterisk of 2021 is that because transportation was a protected employment status during coronavirus and our distance learning year, we still had to pay our member share of the JPA. There was considerably less use of that service during that time period, so we did see reduction in overall costs for the 2021 school year. 21-22 is subject to change as we go through the year. one thing that West County does, they do bill us quarterly based on an estimated budget. But then at the end of the year, they true up costs based on actual ridership, especially with special education students that have transportation included to provide them either services or access to schools. So these are our associated costs for our general education busing, as well as our special ed busing from West County Transportation. I'll also note, as noted on the agenda item, we will be bringing back a more traditional West County Transportation Agency update in July with the coordination with Executive Director Chad Barksdale from West County Transportation. I'll turn it back over to you, President Sheffield.
Thank you. All right, this is a discussion item. We have questions from the board. I see Trustee Medina's hand raised.
I just wanted to see if we can get any information or insight as to the increase from 2021 to 21-22. It's like almost 28% increase. Like anything that that attributes to why such a big increase.
If I may paraphrase Director Medina, your audio was cutting out. I believe you were asking about the increase from 2021 to 21-22, the large increase on that. Yes, so part of that is because we had reduced costs due to COVID. So we paid for our share in the JPA, but there was considerably less travel, especially with special education placements, et cetera, during our year of distance learning. Most students were at home. So this year for 21-22, we do expect an adjustment down at the end of the year based on not necessarily general education ridership, but the use for special education, which is a larger cost center in for our rates with West County Transportation.
Additional questions?
I do. Oh, I'm sorry. Omar, did you have another question? No. Oh. The funding source for these, are these a pass through from the federal government, or is this our general funding?
It's from the state government majority. There is an allocation that goes to West County Transportation, and then general fund does pay for the remainder for both general education and our special education.
And what's the allocation in terms of percentages?
Between the two?
Yeah. Between the states, yeah.
The allocation is just under 2 million. I don't have that in front of me, but around $2 million, and then the remainder comes from general fund.
General fund, okay. And then you mentioned that this is based on ridership, right? So can you explain that a little bit? Do we pay more if students ride more, or do we pay less if students take advantage of the ridership?
It's actually more so for the special education. It's for the routes that they actually provide those services for on a daily basis, billed quarterly.
Okay, but I mean, what do you mean that is based on ridership? So, so do we pay based on a certain amount of students that are supposed to ride?
No, we get paid. We pay for an individual student who receives transportation for special education.
Okay.
Based on the amount of rides that they take during a quarter. So we're billed quarterly based on estimated usage. That's how the budget comes. Okay. And then actuals are trued up at the end of the year for ridership, specifically on those. For general education, we are charged by route, not by student.
And then we're charged, and the reimbursement that we get from the state, is it set, or do we get more if we have more students riding the buses?
No, it's set.
It's set. Okay, got it. Okay, that makes sense. Oops, can you hear me there? Okay, let's see here. Okay, I mean, those are the only questions I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Flores. Trustee Fong?
This is just raising a couple questions for me. This is for Rick. Besides special ed, who gets to ride the bus? And is it per the IEP or how far they live? And reg ed, who gets to ride the bus?
For special education, it's generally part of their IEP that they have home to school transportation. For general education, it is proximity to routes. We generally don't turn anyone down that I know of, and it's through an application process through West County to ride the bus.
So when we are thinking about future need and we're talking about equity, and it's come up before, we've never addressed it, kids who need to take the bus so they can go to a charter school, for example, and we don't provide busing. Is that something? I don't know how we would afford that. We would be charged per kid, right? Per rider?
No, it would be charged by route, so time and mileage for general education busing. It's special education busing that gets charged by rider, because they often go, in some cases, one student per ride or van, depending on who it is or where it is going to. So it's generally smaller capacity, right? So it's charged by rider. The general education busing is primarily on the traditional school bus.
So this isn't the place to really talk about this, but it begs the question that we can also talk about transportation as part of our equity work. Something for the future. Thank you.
I will share to that. I know Director De La Cruz has a question too. There is a proposed Senate bill. The number escapes me. I believe it may be 878 that is talking about the state providing busing to all students. And so that just came out in the last couple of weeks, and there's a lot of conversation around that and the potential impact, not only to transporting students in general, but the need for bus drivers and the need for additional buses to accommodate that on a statewide basis. So that's something that was a topic of discussion, or I'll say an introduction topic at the West County Transportation Agency board meeting today. And that will be further discussed over the next several weeks and months for sure, with initial proposed implementation date of January of 23.
Trustee De La Cruz.
Thank you. Following up on what Trustee Fong mentioned, my brain went there too. And I think some of the questions I'm having are, do we have any way of also understanding like which of our students is using the city program for free bus passes for Santa Rosa City Schools kids? And are there ways of increasing our usage of city schools buses or city buses to reduce our West County transportation costs, at least for the gen ed population, secondary school, population in particular?
I don't have information about usage of city bus. We can certainly see if we could get some information that would be relevant to that question.
Thanks.
Other questions, Trustee De La Cruz?
No, that's it.
Well, I have another question here. one of the things I've noticed, while I go to work is that, some of the buses and the bus routes are pretty empty. Is there something that we're doing systemically to make sure that we improve the ridership of our students to make sure they're taking advantage of this? Is there anything we can do, system-wide to improve that?
I off the top of my head, I can share this. The buses that we do have are usually full. The ones going to the school sites that we have, not overflowing. There's not riders left behind. Our biggest hurdle right now, I would say, with any expansion of busing services is workforce. The labor force for West County Transportation, they are still nearly a couple dozen drivers down at any given point in time right now, with an incredibly hard time of recruiting, or if they do get a couple of individuals who want to become bus drivers, they'll oftentimes go through the training or start the training and quit, or go through the training and then take that certification elsewhere. So that is an issue that they're trying to combat, along with their own rising costs through the JPA.
And I'd like to know, in terms of the JPL in West County, how much money they have in unrestricted reserves, for example, right? And see how much they're, if they're, personally, I like to see if they're encouraging bus drivers by increasing their, wages. Just because I know this is an issue nationwide, not just here in Santa Rosa. And what are we doing to retain those workers? Okay. Do you have that information, or is that something you have to ask?
No, it's all public. They go through the same process as we do. We review first interim, second interims, the budget, improved budget through the board of directors. I don't have those numbers in front of me, but I will share. It's not very much at the end of the year with unrestricted funds. One thing I will give a lot of credit to West County for is they do pass through their costs, as they should, on a percentage basis to the member districts. And they're not stockpiling huge reserves through that process. Just like with RESIG, our insurance JPA, right. We do get oftentimes money back at the end of the year based on our percentage of the JPA. We expect to get some back this year as well at the end of this year. It still remains to be seen how much money that will be. It's not something that I can even use at this point as a budget assumption going into second interim or even budget development into 22-23. But something that would probably come forward at the 45-day revise after they settle their books for the 21-22 school year.
And then I think something you might have forgot to say is that the idea of a JPL is to reduce cost, right? And then with the participating districts. And I think that's one of the main reasons why we went into the JPL. So I just wanted to say that because I don't remember hearing that part. All right, well, thank you, Rick. This is very educational, okay? And thank you for bringing this forward. And I look forward to the next presentation in July, I think.
Yeah, thank you, Director Flores. I'll also say too, one of the things that, it's hard to quantify based on, 2012 through 16 routes where we would be with first student right now in terms of cost, right? So, I applaud the efforts of West County trying to keep our annual expenditures somewhat level through this time period. And I know that's been through a number of cost saving measures and trying to streamline operations in order to make sure we're transporting the kids we should transport. But we certainly need to evaluate all that as we continue to move forward. But your comment is absolutely correct, Director Flores.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Flores. Last call, board members. Do we have questions for Deputy Superintendent Edson? All right, E8 is a discussion item. We're going to go to public comment on agenda item E8.
If there are any members of the public who'd like to comment on this item, please raise your hand. And there are no hands raised.
Thank you. All right, bring it back to the board for discussion. Further questions? All right, seeing none, we're going to close out our E items. Wow. Am I looking my clock correctly? Is it 8:30? That's amazing. We're going to move on to our F items, consent items. Seeking a motion for approval of consent items. I see Trustee McCormick's hand raised.
Move to approve items F2 through 7.
Second that.
Okay, let's see. We had a motion by Trustee McCormick, seconded by Trustee Fong. Ready for a vote?
I'm not sure if Georgia can hear us. Director Beard. So we'll skip Georgia for now. Director McCormick.
Aye.
Director Fong.
Aye.
Director Manieri.
Aye.
Director De La Cruz.
Aye.
Director Flores.
Aye.
Director Medina.
Aye.
President Sheffield.
Aye. Motion passes. Moving on to our G items, approval of minutes. G1, approval of minutes of the regular board meeting held on January 26th, 2022. Seeking a motion.
Move to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting held on January 26, 2022.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We had motion to approve minutes from Trustee McCormick, seconded by Trustee Manieri. Ready for a vote?
Director McCormick.
Aye.
Director Manieri.
Aye.
Director De La Cruz.
Aye.
Director Fong.
Aye.
Director Flores.
Aye.
Director Medina.
Aye.
President Sheffield.
Aye. Motion passes. Agenda item H, board member requests for information. Board members, any requests for information? Trustee McCormick? No? Okay. I see Trustee Flores.
Yes, I think former President Fong brought this up a while back in terms of having a some sort of big picture sort of not presentation, but research on to see if we can implement big picture learning in which way. And I know we've talked about it, but you know, this is something I'm really passionate about, you know, to make sure that, you know, our students are you know, doing real life learning. And I just like to make sure that we are moving forward with that. And it sounds like I'm not the only board member that would like that to happen. So I just want to make sure that it's happening. And let me know whenever you want to go visit the schools up in, you know, Sacramento. I'll be more than happy. But it will be important for people to know what big picture is all about. So like a little informational, you know, sort of presentation as to what, you know, what makes them so successful, right? Thank you.
All right, big picture learning at Ridgeway. Other board members, requests for information? Trustee Fong?
I would just second that. And just FYI, Big Picture Learning is a nonprofit, I believe, that it really gets juniors and seniors into internships. And so it's an amazing program. So there are a couple of schools that do that in the Sacramento area that I think Director Flores has seen and I have seen. So we'd like to visit with her superintendent, who also has said yes. So not that she hasn't been busy lately, but you know.
Full support of that. Thank you, Trustee Fong. Trustee De La Cruz?
Thanks. Sorry, I had some connectivity issues earlier tonight, and I just wanted to reiterate a request to really understand the big picture with regard to the World House kind of language academy. I know we voted tonight on taking some important steps forward, but really just reiterating the request for a big picture budget understanding of what that will take, and to make sure that our budgeting includes recognition of what it means to disinvest, and that there's also costs and burdens associated with our actions with regard to Cook and with this action that we took tonight with Slater and Monty. So hoping that that comes back, and would just also love to see a timeline in particular for when that work is aligned to bring kind of that world house, that language academy vision forward.
Thank you, Trustee De La Cruz. We have Trustee Fong.
So this is not a request for information, but I want to reiterate again that our principals are doing their reports, and I know you've looked at them, and tonight it was Monroe and Brook Hill and Montgomery. And again, I just want to tell everybody, the principals, all the administrative staff and parents, stakeholders out there, that the work is incredible. Incredible work, moving learning forward. And it's teachers and it's principals at the sites who are doing this for their kids. And the results are looking great. I mean, they're giving us some data, just enough data for us to our eyes not to glaze over, but it's showing progress, just showing real progress and growth. So very proud of these, of all the sites, and very grateful for the work that everyone is doing. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Trustee Fong. All right, last call, shout out. All right, we have items listed in the agenda packet are information items. And before we adjourn, Superintendent Trunell, any last minute announcements?
Just recognizing that February is Heart Month. So just encouraging everyone to remember that we are each other's greatest resource and support in our community and beyond. And so, for those who are still with us tonight, and for this board and our team, just thank you for all that you do. We know that it's a lot, and we are here to support all of you. So thank you so much.
Beautiful. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, my gosh, it's 8:40. We're adjourning. If you guys want to stick around, I'm gonna do my stand-up.
Stop it, Ed.
Some interpretive dance, some
Don't jinx it.
Kabuki theater. If you guys want to stick? No.
Look at Marcella. She's
All right. You've got
No.
Marcella. Yes.
Happy New Year. Happy Lunar
All
New
right.
Year.
With that, good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you.
Great to see everyone.